British crew in the final of the eights. This, the classic rowing event, a really majestic final. In lane 1, at the bottom, East Germany. In lane 2, Czechoslovakia. Lane 3, West Germany. Lane 4, the USA. Lane 5, the Soviet Union. And Britain at the top in lane 6. An armada of boats, and really a truly classic final this. The 4 nations who fill the first 4 places in the Olympic final are taking part, plus the USA and West Germany, both of whom boycotted Moscow. The East Germans at the bottom, the world and Olympic champions, but this is a new crew, although 5 of them have already won Olympic or World Championship gold medals in other events. And at this moment, it's the Soviet Union in lane 5 who took the bronze medal in Moscow, who head the field. And the feeling amongst the British team was that the battle for gold and silver would be between the Soviet Union in lane 5 and themselves. Although these Germans at the bottom are very experienced, they've had a lot of trouble, were disappointed with their row in the heats, and indeed have changed the configuration of the crew, much to the amazement of the British team. The last time Great Britain won a medal in the eights in the World Championship was at Lucerne in 1974, when we took a silver. This is the East Germans, who've really been putting in some hard practice after their disappointing row in the opening heats, when they didn't automatically qualify for this final. Great Britain at this stage in 3rd place. The division of medals here in the World Championships at Munich, much more even than it was at the Olympic Games in Moscow, when the East Germans took 7 of the 8 golds. Here, so far, East Germany has won 3, the Soviet Union 2, West Germany 1, and Italy 1. But interestingly enough, only 1 gold medal has been won today from lane 6. That was by the East Germans in the double sculls. East Germans at the bottom of the picture, Czechoslovakia inside them, then West Germany and the USA. And those crews now trailing to the Soviet Union with a lead of about a length on Great Britain, who are in 2nd place. The wind, which has blown quite a lot during the previous days, has died and gusted here during finals day. At this moment, the flags in the grandstand are hanging limp, so none of the 6 racing lanes should have any favoritism from the shadow of the grandstand over the last 500 meters. If there were to be any, it would fall on lane 1, which is occupied by the East Germans. The British crew, including 5 of the oarsmen who took silver medals in Moscow last year, plus the cox Colin Moynihan, who was in Moscow, and also including 3 of the winning Oxford boat race crew from earlier this year. Britain just over 2 seconds behind the Soviet Union, and that's about 3/4 of a length, and leading East Germany themselves by perhaps a further half a length. The British camp cheered by that success in the coxed pairs. This is the West Germans, who've been suffering from a virus. 1 or 2 of their crew have gone down during the last couple of days, and that's certain to interfere with their chances. Still the Soviet Union ahead, Britain 2nd, and East Germany 3rd. British crew on the far side in the bow, Mark Andrews, at 2 John Bland, 3 Colin Seymour, 4 Chris Mahoney, 5 Andrew Justice, 6 John Pritchard, 7 Malcolm McGowan, the stroke Richard Stanhope, and Moynihan the cox. And already now hitting the 500 meters to go mark. Still the Soviet Union in the gold medal place, Britain in silver. with that half a length lead on East Germany. And it's the USA in lane 4 who are beginning to improve. It's the view from the Marshall boats following the Armada. Czechs, who were fourth in Moscow, are already out of it, so too are the West Germans. And it looks like a silver here for Great Britain. The Soviets in lane 5 with that lead of 3/4 of a length. And Britain just heading the USA in lane 4 for silver. East Germans are dropping back. A silver was what was hoped for. What it was felt would be justified, and it looks as though that will be the reward. Equaling the success in Lucerne in '74, when Britain also took a silver, and of course in the last 2 Olympic Games, Montreal and Moscow, when the British 8 also took silver. Just over 100 metres to go. Surely they can't be caught now by the Americans. And they're overhauling the Soviets all the time, but there isn't space left, I think, to catch them. The Soviets will hold them and take the gold. Gold for the Soviet Union and silver for Great Britain in lane 6. Bronze for the USA. The race, as expected, between the Soviets and Great Britain for the gold medal. And it was felt that the Soviets just had the edge and could hold it, and that's the way it proved. This a new Soviet crew from the one which finished in bronze medal position behind Great Britain in Moscow, and good enough here to head the British boat by half a length. So silver medals for the crew of the British 8. And for the first 3 men in the line, that's the bow, Mark Andrews, followed by John Bland and Colin Seymour. It's a new experience. They are the new faces alongside the crew that won the silver medal at the Olympic Games in Moscow.
Colin Seymour. Christopher Mahoney.
For the next 5 men in the line, Chris Mahoney here. Andrew Justice. Followed by John Pritchard, Malcolm McGowan, Richard Stanhope and Colin Moynihan. Of course, the experience is familiar as they collected silver medals in Moscow.
Malcolm McGowan. Richard Stanhope,
the stroke. And finally, Colin Moynihan, the cox. So a silver medal for the crew of the British 8 to add to the bronze medal already won in the cox pairs to round off a memorable World Championships here in Munich.